Excuse me, I've been here for 2 hours. Will someone see me? The bank employee looked Eugene up and down, worn-out clothes, an old notebook in his hands, a faded military cap. Are you sure you're in the right place? He said loudly, laughing, drawing the attention of other customers. Soft chuckles echoed through the branch. Eugene slowly stepped back without saying a word, clutching the old notebook tighter, eyes lowered, letting out a deep sigh. Across the room, behind the glass wall of his office, the manager was watching everything closely. In Carbondale, Colorado, the mountains wrap around the town like protective arms. That's where Eugene Walker, 69, lives. On that Friday morning, he drives his 1998 Ford pickup, engine growling loudly, and pulls up in front of the First National Bank of Carbondale, a low brick building with an American flag fluttering by the entrance. He grabs his old Navy instructor cap from the passenger seat. His right leg protests as he steps down from the truck. Eugene walks toward the bank. His steps are steady, despite the pain. Back at the farm, the cows were waiting for fresh water. The well dried up last week. The north pasture fence has been down for 2 weeks, and the animals have started wandering into the neighbor's property. Small problems, but expensive solutions. And Eugene didn't have the money for any of it. He pushes open the bank's glass door. The air conditioning hits him with a cold blast. The customer service desks had acrylic dividers, and the employees typed rapidly, barely looking at the people in front of them. A muted television played economic indicators on a loop. He walks up to the receptionist. "Good afternoon. I'd like to talk about a farm loan." Ellen, a young woman, looks up. She sizes him up from head to toe. Faded jeans, a flannel shirt with a small tear at the elbow, mud-stained boots. "Do you have an account with us?" "I do, Eugene Walker." She types into the computer, then frowns. "You'll have to wait. Our loan officer is currently busy." Eugene nods. He looks for a place to sit. 3 blue plastic chairs next to a table covered with old magazines. He picks the one in the corner. The wait begins. In the war, he learned that patience is a survival skill. 1 hour later, Eugene was still seated. The notebook rested on his lap. Sometimes he scribbled numbers. Other times, he just watched. 3 customers had come and gone. 2 were seen right away. An elderly woman was called after just 15 minutes. An hour and a half in, he stood up and asked, "How much longer?" he asked politely at the front desk. "He's really busy today," the receptionist replied. "Maybe you could come back another day?" Eugene shook his head. "I need to take care of this today." The receptionist sighed, then exchanged glances with a coworker. "Sarah, check this guy out," she whispered, nodding discreetly toward Eugene. Sarah stepped over. She whispered back, "Probably just another old man here to waste our time." After 2 full hours, Eugene stood up and walked back to the counter. "Excuse me, I've been here for 2 hours. Will I be seen?" "Listen, sir." The receptionist cut him off, speaking louder than necessary. "Mr. Jennings is very busy today. I'll help you, but just so you know, farm loans are complicated. They require documentation, proof of income, collateral." People in the branch began to glance over. "Do you have all that?" Eugene opened his notebook. Inside were plastic sleeves holding carefully arranged documents. The deed to his land, bank statements, military pension records. "I have everything right here." She picked up the papers with the same care someone might use to grab a soggy flyer. "Do you have any formal income?" "Only my military pension." "Okay. And where are the statements?" Eugene pulled out copies of his pay stubs from the envelope. "Okay, and the deed to the land?" "This is all handwritten," she muttered, wrinkling her nose. "I wrote it out to make it easier to read. I can explain every number." The employee glanced at him over her computer screen. "You do understand the bank requires official electronic records, right? This land of yours is valued at—" She typed something quickly. "Less than 50,000. And how much are you asking for again?" $5,000. She turned the monitor slightly away, as if afraid he might smudge it just by looking. Then she stared at him for a few seconds. "Have you tried applying through the city? There are public aid programs." Eugene gripped the notebook with both hands, took a deep breath. I'm not here asking for charity, miss, just a loan. Like any other citizen. She smiled. But it wasn't a kind smile. It was the kind of smile that comes before humiliation. She stood up and motioned with her head. In seconds, a man in a light-colored suit appeared. Young, hair slicked back, blazer a little too tight, and a phone never far from his hand. He was the senior service assistant. He didn't even greet Eugene. This the guy asking about the farm loan? He said, with a sarcastic tone he didn't bother to hide. The woman nodded. He flipped through the documents quickly, smirking. This looks like a half-abandoned plot. And you really think this qualifies you for a loan? Eugene didn't answer. I'm sorry, sir, but our system can't approve anything based on this kind of paperwork. You might try another bank. Here, we only deal with real financial viability. Nothing personal. Eugene gently gathered his papers. One by one, closed the notebook, rested his cap on his lap. I understand. Thank you for your time. Of course, sir. Best of luck, the woman said, already turning back to her computer. Eugene slowly stepped away, limping slightly. He stopped, near the reception area, sat on one of the side benches leaning against the wall. Across from him hung a framed poster of the bank's core values: respect, empathy, responsibility. Words that now seemed to laugh right along with the man. In the tight suit, 2 long hours, and a cold rejection. He just sat there, staring into nothing, still holding his notebook, until from the back hallway a glass door opened, and a middle-aged man stepped out. He wore glasses and a dark suit, Michael Jennings, the branch manager. He looked across the lobby and saw the man sitting in the corner, the faded navy cap resting in his lap, and for a moment, everything stopped. Michael Jennings paused for a moment, watching Eugene sitting silently in the corner. The image triggered an old memory, a similar chair in a military hospital in New Jersey. His grandfather, also dressed in plain clothes, patiently waiting for a doctor, in his hand. The same kind of navy cap, folded with respect. Michael took a deep breath and walked over to Eugene. Sir, are you all right? He asked gently, stopping in front of him. Eugene looked up. His eyes were damp, but his voice remained calm. I'm all right, just resting a bit. My legs aren't what they used to be. Michael glanced at the worn notebook on his lap, then at the cap. He recognized the hand-stitched emblem, a symbol he had seen 1,000 times on his grandfather's shelf. You served in the Navy? He asked, now with a tone of reverence. Eugene nodded slowly. Trainer. California, then South Carolina. 30 years. My grandfather was Navy, Michael said. Fought in the Pacific. He always spoke with pride about the uniform. Eugene smiled softly. Michael sat down beside him on the waiting bench. No branch manager ever sat there, but right now, nothing else mattered. May I ask, what brought you in today? I have a farm, about 15 minutes from here. The fence collapsed. The well dried up. I just needed a small loan, $5,000. Paid off in 2 years. I've got the land as collateral. Never missed a bill. Never asked for help. Michael looked through the notebook carefully. The notes were detailed. And were you seen by anyone? Eugene gently closed the notebook. I was. They said it wasn't worth it. That I didn't qualify. Michael looked over at the counter. The 2 employees who had mocked Eugene earlier were now laughing at something on their phone, unaware of what was happening in the corner of the branch. May I take a look at your documents? Eugene handed them over, one by one. Michael read everything closely, the pay stubs, the land deed, the projections. Then he looked back at Eugene. You know this is more organized than most business plans I've seen? Eugene gave a faint smile. Discipline doesn't fade. Michael stood up. Wait here just a minute. He walked to his office and returned in less than 2 minutes. In his hand, a red folder and a printed form. Mr. Walker, you're not only approved, I'm personally making sure of it. With the best terms we can offer. Eugene blinked, surprised. You're saying? I'm saying you are more than worthy, and that this branch owes you something, for who you are and what you represent. Michael turned toward the front desk. "Ellen," he called out loudly. "Can you come here a moment?" The receptionist walked over, looking confused. "This is Ellen. She helped you earlier?" "Yes," Eugene replied. Michael kept his tone steady. "Ellen, this is Eugene Walker. He's here for a fully eligible loan." She nodded, awkwardly. "Yes, sir. And starting today, every veteran who walks into this branch will be treated with respect and with gratitude." That day, in Carbondale, Colorado, no one was talking about rates or loans. They were talking about honor. Back on the farm, the fence was rebuilt. The well was working again. In town, Eugene still stopped by the bank now and then, but not to ask for loans anymore. He went to talk with Michael and to listen to stories about his grandfather, stories of honor, and a kind of worth that can't be measured. If you enjoyed this story, click the like button and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next story, especially for you.